In 1880, John D. Rockefeller faced a wall built by the United States government. At the time, American law was simple. A company in Ohio could not legally own shares in a company in New York or California. The law was designed to prevent a single man from becoming a king. But Rockefeller didn't see a wall. He saw a design flaw. He didn't want to break the law. He wanted to rise above it. He wanted to build an empire that existed in the shadows between jurisdictions. Today, we decode the greatest legal heist in history, the creation of the trust, a loophole so powerful that even 100 years later, it is the reason you can't tell who truly owns the world. From the secret boardrooms of the 19th century to the tech conglomerates of Silicon Valley, this is how the 1% stays invisible. Imagine you own 10 different shops, but the law says you can only own one. What do? Rockefeller's lawyers came up with a brilliant, dark solution. They didn't buy the shops. Instead, they asked the shop owners to trust their shares to a small group of 9 men. On paper, those shops were still independent. But in reality, those 9 men, led by Rockefeller, controlled every single price, every employee, and every gallon of oil. This was the Standard Oil Trust. It wasn't a company, it was an agreement. And because it wasn't a company, the government didn't know how to regulate it. It was a ghost in the machine. While the politicians were arguing over old laws, Rockefeller was quietly stitching together 40 separate companies into a single, unstoppable octopus. He had turned the rule of law into a rule of Rockefeller. You might think this is old history, but look at your phone. You think you're using Google, but legally you're interacting with Alphabet Inc. You think you're on Instagram or WhatsApp, but you're inside Meta. Why do these giants exist? Because they are the direct descendants of Rockefeller's trust. A holding company is the modern version of the Standard Oil ghost. It doesn't make anything, it simply owns. If one part of the empire gets sued or faces a scandal, the rest remains untouched. It's a shield of legal layers designed to keep the architect safe while the foot soldiers do the work. Rockefeller didn't just invent a business model, he invented the corporate shield. He realized that in the game of power, the one who is hardest to find is the one who is hardest to kill. By 1904, the Standard Oil Trust controlled 91% of oil refining in America and 85% of final sales. Think about that number, 91%. In the history of capitalism, no one had ever achieved such a total, crushing victory. But here is the dark psychology of it. Rockefeller kept the old names of the companies he bought. People would walk into a store and see 3 different brands of kerosene. They thought they were choosing the best one. But all 3 brands were owned by Rockefeller. The competition was a theater. The choice was a hallucination. This is the ultimate lesson of the cipher. When you see a conflict between 2 giants today, be it in politics or tech, ask yourself, who owns the parent company? Often the war you see on the surface is just a way to keep you from looking at the ceiling. As his power grew, so did the hatred. Rockefeller became the most vilified man in the West. He was called a robber baron. He had to hire bodyguards to walk through the streets of New York. But Rockefeller remained unshakable. Why? Because he had mastered the art of internal validation. He believed his wealth was a sign of God's favor, and the public's anger was just the noise of the unfit. This is a recurring trait in high-value individuals. They do not seek approval, they seek results. While the newspapers were calling him a monster, he was focused on the efficiency of his machine. He replaced the chaos of 1,000 small businesses with the cold, sterile precision of a global monopoly. To him, the public wasn't the master, they were just the consumers of his order. Most people operate within the rules they are given. The architect operates within the rules they discover. The lesson of the trust isn't about being illegal, it's about being structured. In your own life, are you just a sole proprietor of your time, or have you built a system that protects your assets? Comment the word structure below if you're ready to build your own invisible web. In part 3, we will witness the breaking of the octopus, the moment the US Supreme Court tried to destroy him, only to realize they had accidentally made him the richest man to ever walk the earth. Subscribe to witness the final ascension.